Thank you all for being here today. We want to draw attention to some of the unsolved homicide cases that we currently have here in Greenville County. The photographs and names that you see behind us right now are photographs and names of those who have whose cases have gone unsolved within the past 3 years, dating back to January of 2017. We're joined here by Sheriff Johnny Mack Brown. With our agency, we also have Captain Tim Jones, who is over the Criminal Investigations Division. He's the captain there. And then local community activist, Mrs. Traci Fant. So following our opening statements, we'll open the floor for any questions that you might have. Captain Jones is here to answer any questions pertaining to the investigative side of things. 2 weeks ago, I left work after a productive day at the office. I set off to watch my son's football game, and it was there that I looked out over the field, mindful of the beautiful sunset in the background, surrounded by family, and I thought, what a moment. For that brief second, time stopped as I reminisced on so many wonderful memories that I've had with my family, watching the kids play sports or attending this various school function or that function and that show. And then it dawned on me that so often we as human beings take these moments for granted. When it comes down to it, we don't know what tomorrow will bring, or if tomorrow will bring opportunities to experience more of life's treasures. A day or so before attending that event, I had the opportunity to meet with local community activist Traci Fant as we discussed some of the unsolved cases here in Greenville County. As I looked down that list, I read names, and with those names, I saw faces. And I thought to myself, each of these individuals are children, fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, aunts, and uncles who are no longer with us and suddenly left this world under tragic circumstances. The people they are closest with will never get to experience their beautiful smile, their heartfelt laughter, or whatever fondest memory rests with them the most. Many of us subconsciously take for granted having those that we love with us on a daily basis. But each of these people who you see here, right here behind me, each of their passing brought sorrow and a deep pain to someone's life when they left this world. And not for reasons of illness or natural causes, because someone took it upon themselves to take the life of another human being. Yet the people responsible for killing each of these victims could have only considered the grief, the sorrow, and heartache that they have caused these victims' family and friends. Maybe they would have given it a second thought. If we as a law enforcement family could speak to the people responsible, today we would say to them, own up to your mistakes and turn yourselves in. Our homicide investigators work tirelessly to identify and apprehend those responsible for committing violent crimes such as murder. And the sheriff commends each and every one of them for their continuous hard work. This year alone, our team of investigators have cleared 17 out of the 20 total homicides, reflecting a clearance rate of 85%. To put that into perspective, the national homicide clearance rate is just over 61%. They work hard, but they need your help. 17 out of 20 means that there are 3 people's lives, 3 people whose family and friends seek closure on their cases. In closing, our agency expresses one wish for the county: to exemplify a community united for the better good of humanity, who might ask themselves one question when deciding on whether or not to report information of a crime. If it was your loved one, family member, or friend who lost their lives, would you want justice served? So we come to you today in solidarity in an effort to ultimately solve all the unsolved homicide cases in the county. We are a law enforcement unit of several hundred serving a county of over 500,000 people, and we need your help by reporting information to assist us in getting these dangerous offenders off the streets. Thank you, and I'll now turn the floor over to Mrs. Traci Fant.
I come to you as an activist, as a community member, as a community leader, as a mother, and as someone who is strongly committed to bringing justice to our community. Upon meeting with Sheriff Brown 2 weeks ago, he expressed to me the need for us to look at some of these cases. He said he was really grieving in his heart the fact that these homicides are unsolved. After the conversation with him, Ryan and I continued the conversation that started earlier this summer, to where we sat down for lunch and we discussed the unsolved homicides, and we said, you know, there's something that needs to be done. We need to do something. As a community activist, one of my primary goals is to help families get justice, to help families find closure, to help law enforcement get case closure. And so when the sheriff reached out to me and told me how important he felt this was, we got together and we decided that now is the time for us to come to the community and make this plea. You've heard it before, and you've probably heard it a million times. If you know something, please say something. I can't say enough how much I'm bothered by the fact that there are 11 faces behind me right now, unsolved homicides in the past 3 years. But there are many more than that. And as someone who speaks on behalf of many families, I stand before you now and say that if anyone in the community knows anything, not only about these 11 homicides, but the many others that exist, please come forward with the knowledge. Please come forward so that we can help these families get the closure that they deserve and help them get the peace that their families deserve as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I want to thank all of you for being here, number one, and secondly, I want to thank you because in the past, you have been beneficial to us in reacting some of these old homicides, trying to spur people's memory and getting them to make a call. Whatever piece of evidence they may know or may have, please call so we can give some closure to these families who deserve closure on their loved ones who have been taken to them during a violent crime. So I want to say thank you to the media who has reached out and helped us to put these cases out before the public, and hopefully somebody will remember something or remember seeing something, maybe the piece that we need to put the puzzle together. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for coming today and sharing this information with your viewers that see and hear and read your papers and listen to you on the TV and the radios. Hopefully get them involved in solving these old cases. These are just a few. Captain Jones can tell you there are several other cases through the years that we would love to solve, and hopefully somebody will know something and reach out to us after today and give us that information. So thank you for being here. Tim, you say?
Just in general, I mean, each one of these cases has eccentricities and different types of things going on with them. But for the most part, somebody knows what happened to these people. And then even if it's just a one suspect and a one victim, I know that suspect has told someone what's going on. Most people can't keep quiet. You know, they got to tell a buddy, a friend, or something. So that's what we've always begged of people. If you hear anything, if you know anything, even if you hear a rumor, at least let us know so that we can go and kind of vet that rumor and make sure that it is a rumor and it's not something that is true. So any information is always helpful. Call Crime Stoppers. Typically there's a reward for all of these things. We always offer rewards on all murders. So if anybody has any information on anything, call 23 Crime.
Any questions?
I know this is not a new topic for any of you, but for those who might be listening now or might hear this later, for those who might know something but are frankly scared of coming forward to share this information, what would you say to someone like that?
Well, certainly we're going to do our best to keep that person's anonymity with us and not, put out information this person has become. If that person's involved, obviously, they will be charged with what they're involved in that crime, but we will try to protect as much as we can anybody that comes forward with information on any of these cases that need to be closed.
Captain, you spoke to this a little bit, but maybe you could elaborate a little bit. Is there any piece of information that is too small for you guys to go after in cases like this?
And Captain, before you do that, we kind of get closer to those microphones. Thank you, sir.
I don't think there's any information that's too small. I mean, if we don't have it, then we don't have anything. So any type of information about someone, a piece of evidence or anything, we'll gladly be happy to go out and look at it, follow up on it. So no, to answer your question, no information is too small for us on any case.
Even if it's a rumor they've heard.
Right.
Let us check out that rumor to see if it brings us any closer to any information that could heavily or could help us prepare this case for trial.
You mentioned that there are more than just the 11 faces we are seeing on this screen. Approximately, are you able to give a rough estimate about how many cold cases there are right now, or how many cases you consider that you're seeking the public's need for desperately?
Well, like we said, these are pretty much within the last 3 years. But as far as the sheriff's office goes, we are pushing probably 90 unsolved cold cases.
Over the years.
Over the years. I mean, this is like from 1968 till now. So we have several.
And the good thing is, we don't close murder cases. We keep them open, hoping somebody will come forward, or hoping somebody will overhear somebody in the jail say, you know, I was involved in a homicide years ago, and that person who heard it comes to us, and we obviously check out that information. But we don't want any case of homicide or any case dealing with people who have lost a loved one to go unsolved. Our hope is that we can solve any of these unsolved cases. And I know Tracy is out there every day talking to families who have loved ones gone, who hear nothing about their case unless they call. So we want to reach out to these people who have loved ones and say, we haven't forgotten you. We still have your case. It's still open, and we're going to hopefully one day get enough information to bring that person to justice.
And Tracy, maybe you can speak to that a little bit. I know that, you know, losing a loved one in any way is hard on a family, but I'm sure especially when it's to the murder of that loved one and then it never being solved. Speak to some of the families that you talk to.
Personally.
I mean, it's a very, very painful thing to experience. On a personal level, I lost my brother. He was murdered, very violently murdered years ago. And I relive that every time I meet with the family. Every time I attend a funeral of a young person who was murdered, I relive that over and over again in my head. And so the one thing that my family got that these families didn't get is justice. And so that's why I fight so hard to help these families get justice as well, because I know it's not going to bring them back, but it will definitely make the family feel a lot more at peace. And then and also you feel that they're actually resting at peace. And so, you know, from a personal standpoint, I mean, this hits home every single time I meet with a family, every single time I have this conversation, even with the sheriff's department, every single time this happens. I remember my brother Andre and everything that we went through when he was murdered.
And I invite you, if you don't remember, every year we do a victims
Tree lighting ceremony.
And we actually invite the victims to put a light on the tree for the loved one that's been lost. So we will certainly notify you when we do it again, and thank you again for being here. Thank you for spreading this information, and hopefully that we get something that we can use just by you reaching out to the public that you share your information with.
I know you said 3 of these murders were out of the 20 from this year.
Yeah.
How many total homicides have happened in the past 3 years?
We'd have to pull those.
We average somewhere between 20.
But there were 17 this year, right?
Per year.
17.
There were 17 this year.
20 total.
Right,
Okay.
20